Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining today's webinar, which is titled From E-Waste to Enterprise, Circular Economy Opportunities in Sierra Leone. And we are privileged to have Professor Kele Mansari, who is the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Sierra Leone and who leads the CEPREC team in Sierra Leone. For context, CEPREC stands for the Circular Economy Powered Renewable Energy Center, and we are a Pan-African organization or research team looking to advance and scale the whole concept of circular energy, which is employing the principles of circular economy in renewable energy transition across Africa. And today's webinar is one of our monthly webinars where we um, disseminate what we are learning and try to engage as many people as possible. So, um, thank you once again for joining and welcome. We are extremely privileged to have Professor Kelly here with us. And without saying much more, I will hand the floor over to Professor Mansari.
Thank you, Professor Muyua, and good afternoon to all here today. I'm going to discuss from e-waste to enterprise, circular economy opportunities in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is our case study today. We all know that transforming e-waste into enterprise is a growing sustainable business model focused on reducing electronic waste by recycling, refurbishing, and recovering valuable materials while reducing environmental impacts. So I'll take you through the remaining slides, see what Sierra Leone is doing to address this worldwide problem of e-waste management. Next slide, please. Freetown currently generates about 135,000 tons of municipal waste, including electronic waste. If this problem is not addressed, okay, this is expected to project to 350,000 tons by 2030. And you know, the Sustainable Development Goals are targeting 2030, you know, to resolve all these problems. But it's a serious problem. And unfortunately, compounding this problem, less than 5% of municipal solid waste, including electronic waste, is recycled in Sierra Leone. So there is no formal e-waste recycling infrastructure currently in Sierra Leone. Okay? And data currently does not exist, data on e-waste. Or see what Sierra Leone is doing, the intervention Sierra Leone is making to address this problem. As electric vehicles and solar systems scale, end-of-life battery management will intensify exponentially, creating challenges and promising opportunities. Next slide. So now we know there are challenges and opportunities, especially in a country like Sierra Leone, for rapid growth of e-waste. We know there is a rapid growth in the generation of e-waste, not only in Sierra Leone, but all over the world. This increase in volumes driven by urbanization, digital use of digital technologies, and in fact, renewable energy expansion. For example, in Sierra Leone, you know, we have a lot of renewable energy projects, especially in rural areas. And we'll talk to that. Waste from that sector, from renewable energy projects, installations, is a serious concern. When it comes to the circular economy scaling, the scaling of circular economy models and creation of green industries is a good opportunity under the rapid growth of e-waste. On the EV sector expansion, we have growing number of solar tricycles, motorcycles, even cars. No, even development partners are now investing in electric vehicles in Sierra Leone. And the battery systems will lead definitely to future waste, not to mention the other electronic components. What's the opportunity there? Creation of new value chains in EV servicing, battery diagnostics, refurbishment, and recycling. On the EV lithium-ion batteries have toxic electrolytes, we all know that are prone to fire hazards. For example, in Sierra Leone, without intervention, Freetown dump sites will become lithium fire hazards, wasting valuable grid stabilizing assets. What's the opportunity there? High residual capacity for second life applications, such as stationary energy storage for mini grids and backup systems. Okay. The power electronics, again, need for safe dismantling protocols. Inverters, controllers, charge regulators, electric motors require safe dismantling protocols to handle hazardous materials. So the opportunity there is the recovery of valuable materials, such as copper windings, permanent magnets for reuse and local manufacturing. Solar PV panels, they contain glass, silicon, and silver components requiring specialized recycling processes to avoid environmental harm. We don't have any. We have a lot of used and damaged panels in the country. The only way they're recycling the panels in Sierra Leone, they smash the glass, use broken glass, add to mortar to make concrete bricks and dallets. Some use it to even make clay tiles. That's the way we're recycling. What's happening to the toxic components, used to make solar panel within the system? Environmental disaster. So what do we do? Materials recovery, glass, silicon, silver, etc., and potential developments of local recycling industries for this. So we'll see what Sierra Leone is doing in this direction. And the unmanaged waste. It's a serious problem. In Sierra Leone, existing waste systems focus on municipal waste, okay, with limited institutional frameworks for e-waste. Unmanaged e-waste causes environmental pollution, you all know that, public health risk, and landfill contamination. We always experience lithium fires in dump sites like those around Freetown, the capital city of Sierra Leone. The opportunity there is to establish formal e-waste collection, recycling, and refurbishment systems. Okay? Development of regulatory frameworks also comes into play, including extended producer responsibility and structured take-back schemes. We have to hold the producers, the manufacturers, accountable for the waste they generate. I hope our government will sell this to our government to come up with stringent policies to handle this menace. What are the technical gaps? We have limited local skills in diagnostics, dismantling, and recycling technologies. The opportunity there, youth skills development through training programs and technical education initiatives. Informal sector dominance, as on safe recycling practices and lack of standards. Okay, these recyclers, those people scavenging through dump sites, even batteries, use batteries in Sierra Leone. They go into the battery to get some components they need, and then discard the carcass, open dumps. Some people even burn the batteries in open air. Environmental disaster. What's the opportunity there? Can integrate informal workers into formal, safer, and more productive systems. energy constraints, we depend highly on fossil fuels, petroleum particularly, to generate electricity and other energy-related activities. So the future of circular mini-grids in Sierra Leone holds a significant future. Can use the end-of-life electric vehicle components to power our mini-grids in Sierra Leone. We've installed over 150, and they are currently installing another 100 mini-grids across villages in Sierra Leone, across remote areas, hard-to-reach areas, according to my colleague Patrick Walker. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Nikita, are you there?
Yes, I've moved on to the next slide. There might be a delay.
Okay.
It's researching Second Life solutions.
Second Life solutions in Sierra Leone. Unfortunately, when this idea came up 2 or 3 years ago, I was wondering where we were going to get electric vehicle batteries, used batteries, and components for repurposing. But fortunately, we now have an established company called New Energy Electric Vehicle Company in Sierra Leone, for short, NEV. Okay, so unfortunately, their concern was, before we met them, was how to dispose of their batteries, used batteries, and electronic components. So now we're working with them, okay, to give their components second life, okay, that have multiple cycles left. Some people are saying 70%, some are saying 80%. We'll have to look into that, okay? These components are still viable for generation and stationary storage applications. And for rural energy access, second life batteries will power, as I've already mentioned, mini grids affordably. Currently, our mini grids are charging a tariff of $80 to $90 per kilowatt hour. So the use of these repurposed, discarded EV components in mini grids and microgrids, I think that the tariff will come down considerably. Next slide, please. Before you go to the next slide, you see, go back, Nikita. I want to show you the components we're expecting to get from NEV Sierra Leone company. Please go back one slide. No, forward. Okay, far left is an inverter, used inverter from the solar company. At the middle, some motors. And right, used lithium batteries from these tricycles you see around. They also have mini buses, cars, and we're expecting to have some of these components to integrate into our renewable energy projects, our mini grid and microgrid projects in Sierra Leone. Okay, next slide. So one benefit of this project, training of our colleagues in the university, okay, at terminal degree level. But as you can see, the topic from the postdoctoral candidates, transforming electronic waste into economic opportunities, circular economy model for sustainable e-waste management in Sierra Leone by Dr. Samba Sise. So he's working on this, he's now working on a paper on this topic. So I'm presenting because I'm lead of the project, but it's really Dr. Samba's area. And we have the PhD students on work package 6, that is social sciences, Senesi Mansari, is working on the socio-economic frameworks for community-owned microgrid ecosystems, bridging the energy access and economic resilience in rural Sierra Leone. And the second PhD candidate, Engineer Selu Senesi, is co-supervised by Monalis at the Montfort University, or I think University of Warwick. Engineer Salu Jawad is working on modeling and optimization of renewable energy microgrid systems for scalability and efficiency in Sierra Leone. It's co-supervised by Dr. VJ, and supervised by me here in Sierra Leone. Then the third candidate, Engineer Bahum Stephen, development and implementation of a low voltage demand model for predictive and adaptive energy management with smart grids, supervised also by VJ and myself. And all of these students have backgrounds in electrical and mechanical engineering. Dr. Sambas said the postdoc candidate is the head of electrical and electronic engineering departments here at Frabe College. And the remaining team with me, the co-lead is here, Dr. Patrick Walker, and the administrative officer, Alfred Bauer, also here with me. Next slide. Still with the electric vehicle company in Sierra Leone, who forged a collaborative partnership, with NIV Sierra Leone. See the picture you see here is the signed MOU with them, and the pictures down during the signing ceremony. And what's all this about? It's from mobility to stationary storage. The first, we need a good working relationship with NIV, okay? Because they have the raw materials we're looking for. They use the electronic components and batteries, okay? So we have agreed to share resources, expertise, knowledge, and data. And one other good thing for the University of Sierra Leone, the university, in fact, the engineering school, is going to NIV on internships. They've already agreed. I think we already have Dr. Samba, 2 students there, and they're going to take 6 more, and they will be trained in various areas of recycling, repurposing, and the like of electric vehicle components. So that's number 3, co-development of research and development solutions for renewable energy sector. Next slide. Next slide, please.
I've already moved on to the next slide, which is local partnership for success.
Okay. No, this is the same. Local partnership for success, NIV Sierra Leone. Power Gen now, yes. Power Gen also has committed to serve as one of the guinea pigs. Test sites for Second Life renewable energy solutions. I know by sometime next year, maybe towards the end of next year, we'll have solutions for the problems they're facing. Most of the batteries, mini grids in Sierra Leone, have run out of batteries, and replacing those batteries very costly. So they're looking up to these projects to come up with this circular economy components of to integrate circular economy into their projects, into their businesses. And they've also committed to sharing resources, data expertise, and capacity to implement circular renewable energy projects. They've also agreed to accept some of our students on internship. Next slide, please. Another company, a mini grid company in Sierra Leone, Sierra Power Renewable Energy Sierra Leone Limited is also committed to serve as a test site for our project. And they also committed to sharing resources, data, expertise, capacity to implement circular economy energy projects. We are yet to sign MOUs with PowerGen and Sierra Power. Next slide, please. Emerging enablers, e-waste management ecosystem in Sierra Leone. So when I started, I told you the government is planning to address this waste management problem in Sierra Leone. So there is a project, Off-Grid Renewable Energy Association, their work package 3. Okay, they're going to the project place the technical, institutional, and policy foundations for the safe, inclusive, and environmentally sound management for solar e-waste in Sierra Leone. So you see the proposed building. This is just a proposal. It's not there yet. And this is the proposed e-waste management center in Mashaka. It's about 47 kilometers from Freetown. Okay, they're going to be involved in pilot waste management models, structured take-back mechanisms for solar panels and battery waste streams, regulatory development, policy frameworks adapted from Kenya and Spain, including extended producer responsibility. Our group, Sierra Leoneans, were in Kenya last week, 2 weeks ago, led by our postdoctoral candidate on this project, Dr. Samba Sise. They were at Strathmore University. Strathmore, I think they have a center there on this e-waste something. The Kenyan colleagues hosted a Sierra Leonean entourage for about a week. So they learned a lot. And we're going to implement, adapt the Kenyan approach in Sierra Leone. I think even these structures you see here, this structure you see here is similar to the one they have in Kenya. Okay, so the team will be going to Spain soon to understudy what they are doing, with their e-waste, because they're doing extremely well with their e-waste in Kenya and Spain. So safe dismantling standards, they're also going to train people, dismantling standards, refurbishment, there will be a hub. This is going to be an innovation, and training center for e-waste management in Sierra Leone. Next slide, please. We also have a new project, ERIVET project, building skills for the future. ERIVET stands for Empowering the Renewable Energy Sector through Vocational Education and Training Support in Sierra Leone. Okay, the project aims at strengthening renewable energy curricula and training of trainers programs. This is supported by Erasmus, European Union. And in fact, our faculty of engineering at Frabe College, University of Sierra Leone, has been contracted to provide training on renewable energy education and waste management to lecturers of technical institutions in Sierra Leone, Eastern Technical University and Freetown Polytechnic. Okay? And after that training, they will train Sierra Leoneans in their institutes with the hope that with time, we'll be able to generate about 30,000 jobs for youths. Okay, so this is circular economy to enterprise. These youths, some of them will even be supported to start their own businesses in the area. So some components in the training, the curriculum we're going to develop on EV and e-waste components will include electric vehicle servicing, battery diagnostics, refurbishment, and recycling operations. So that's the photo of us there at the kickoff meeting at the Freetown Polytechnic. Next slide, please. This is another emerging enabler. Samsung has secured funding. UNDP, sorry, has secured funding from Samsung to pilot an e-waste management program in Sierra Leone. This initiative aims to repurpose, to reposition waste as a resource capable of generating jobs and economic opportunities through recycling and recovery. Okay, and this, I think, is a 6-year project, 6 or 7-year project with good funding. You know, Samsung is an international, well-known all over the country. They selected Sierra Leone. Okay, and I mean, we were all surprised in Sierra Leone, count ourselves lucky. Okay, and this partnership will help empower youth with the skills, platforms, and opportunities to lead circular economy intervention. We've already requested a meeting with them, CEPREC Project Sierra Leone team with UNDP. And the Environmental Protection Agency is also involved in this project. We also requested a meeting with them this week or sometime next week. So what is the circular economy components of this enabler? We're going to establish a circular innovation lab here on our campus, Frabe College, University of Sierra Leone, to provide a space for design, iteration, and incubation of circular innovations. We've already provided them with a space for that. In fact, a building, a big structure to establish this innovation lab. They're going to provide technical support for youth-led, small and medium enterprises and innovators in circular economy. They've already identified a number of innovators in the field to be further trained. Some of them have been trained somewhere, but they'll be further trained and empowered to start their own small and medium enterprises. Okay? And this, once it's established, the Circular Innovation Lab at Frabe College, University of Sierra Leone, it will be cascaded to other tertiary educational institutions across Sierra Leone. Here, they invited us for this meeting, but at that time, Patrick Oka and I were in Namibia. Our young brothers and sisters in Namibia. And so Dr. Samba Sise represented us at this meeting. Next slide, please. The triple dividend. Well, you'll agree with me that the widespread adoption of electric vehicles is a pivotal step toward achieving sustainable transportation and energy systems, even empowerment of youth economically, yeah, by developing enterprises. So it's a clean transportation. This will really help reduce emissions, especially CO2, a potent greenhouse gas, okay, while generating recoverable components at end of life. Okay, this also will prevent lithium fires and toxic leakage in urban dump sites. Okay, after training our trainers, well, this will be handled because the electric vehicle batteries, cars are also using lithium batteries. So that's electrolytes in it can be fire hazard. We have stronger rural electrification. We need this in Sierra Leone. Our electrification rate stands at 36% in urban areas and just about 6% in rural areas. Okay, with all the mini grids we've installed, we still have 60% electrification rate in rural areas. So these second life batteries and refurbished electronic components will power mini grids in undeserved communities. We have rural hospitals, health centers, schools, and businesses. They all need electricity. Okay? And youth empowerment. This will create green jobs, in addition to the 30,000 jobs we're expecting to have from the Heribet project. Next slide, please. Recommendations, call to action. To our governments, the governments of Sierra Leone, specifically the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of the Environment, and Environmental Protection Agency, we have to expedite draft e-waste regulations, okay, including lithium-ion batteries and solar PV. Okay, this extended producer responsibility. Let the producers take responsibility of what they send into us. In fact, one problem we have in Sierra Leone, in addition to the waste, why we have so much waste in Sierra Leone, Western world countries, especially the developed world, they send most of their e-waste to developing countries. You see, people come in here, university will call us, we have a lot of computers, used computers. They send them to Sierra Leone, ship them. Some of them are not even working. So it's time to stop accepting those gifts, because we already have our own problem. I don't want them to shift their problems to us. So that's the government, I'm sure, is working on a policy on that. For example, I remember when I was traveling back to Sierra Leone from Canada after my PhD studies, and all the electronic components I bought, I paid 15% of the cost at customs. So at the end of life of those components, upon returning them back to Canada, they will refund that money. They will refund the money. So we need something like that. I'm not saying I'm going to fly back to Canada for 15% of the money I invested, but it's a good starting point. So the development partners, AU, World Bank, UNDP, let's establish a CEPREC repurposing lab as a national second life battery assembly facility here in Sierra Leone, in addition to what the government is trying to do. Okay, and they can support reverse logistics chain from rural areas. So the private sector, people we're already in contact with. we've already formalized data sharing agreements, but with PowerGen and Sierra Power, we still have to formalize that agreement. Okay, but they've all committed to buying back end of life assets for repurposing. That will be negotiated further. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for listening. Professor Muiwa, colleagues, Nikita, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very, very insightful presentation. Thank you for that. So right now I will open the floor for questions. If you have any question, please just raise your hand and then I will unmute you and call you to, well, unmute you. So we have one, and so Sarat Tenakon.
You want me to go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the nice presentation. Gave us an insight into what's going on in Namibia. Sorry, Sierra Leone. Sorry, I've been to Namibia, so Namibia is in my head. So next time, Sierra Leone. So it is interesting that the move towards data sharing. And so this is something that we are doing it in Rwanda also. Now, this data sharing, data from Sierra Leone, would that be available to CEPREC members? Because if it can be made available, that might be useful.
Yes,
thank you.
It will be available. And in fact, we'll share the data as we receive them from our partners.
Okay.
Because now we even have a research assistant that's working with NIV Sierra Leone now on data collection. And the postdoctoral candidates, Dr. Sambas, is also doing the same on e-waste.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
You're muted, Muiwa.
Oh, sorry. We have Jusu next. Could you please unmute yourself?
Somebody puts up our phone as well.
He's muted also.
Yeah, you need to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, professors. I happen to know my professor, of course, from Bay College, my university at first degree. Now I'm a doctor. What's my professor anyway? Yeah, Prof, I have heard your presentation, which is very timely. Considering the environmental issues, this e-waste may pose in our country, water and the like of it in the ecosystem. But I heard you spoke much about lithium battery. I would like to know whether this project is only limited for the collection of lithium batteries. I didn't hear about the solar panel and other e-waste, maybe including even the tires and the like of it, computers, phones, and the other batteries, which are not lithium battery. And secondly, what is going to be your collection point? Because most projects coming to Sierra Leone is limited in the western area, Freetown, and e-waste is all over the country, right? Like 2 weeks back, I was my home, Thailand, and there are a lot of motorbikes and the like of it. So I would like Professor to throw light on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gobe. I'm glad to know that this project is timely. So, senior member of the Sierra Leone Electricity Generation and Transmission Company. Well, this project is circular economy powered renewable energy center project. Okay, our target is to support the renewable energy projects in Sierra Leone. We're not going for tires or other components. We're going for the power electronics like inverters, motors, and batteries to be integrated into our mini grids. That's what the project is about. E-waste, waste management, yes, tires, those kind of things, but we're not going to recycle those other components because the batteries, electronic components are already wastes. So we're going to repurpose those wastes to support the electrification rates. I know you are struggling to provide electricity for us. Currently, we're using solar for this. Anyway, let me don't go into that. But now with this project, I assure you, in the next 2-3 years down the road, okay, this project will contribute a lot towards electricity access in Sierra Leone. And I'm here with my colleagues, Dr. Samba Sise and Dr. Walker. I don't know if they want to add to this. Dr. Samba Sise.
Yeah, your concern with respect this project reaching the rural and provincial areas. Yes, most of these companies we are dealing with, they also have branches in the rural areas. And as you also know from the presentation that other projects like the Sogre, the hybrids are all targeting the rural areas. So it's nationwide, not only Sierra Leone, but nationwide, not only Freetown, but nationwide.
Okay. It's fine. Is that okay, Doc? Doc, go back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other questions from the floor? Yes, Emmanuel Kanu. 1 second.
GIZ. Wow.
Yes, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello. And I'm the advice of the chair. So just a quick one. I think it's actually maybe it might have been mentioned, I can't say. So I want to know if like the waste we're gathering is just from maybe just mini if it's extended to residential users for things of solar products, and what measures can be put in place in order to face people that have used this product for years and maybe want to get rid of them. I don't know if there's a regulation that will be made in that regard, or how do you intend to go about it, or it's just limited to just the private sector providers, the ones that are installing these equipment, or those the many grid operators. I want to know if there's a strategy for household users these solar products. How do we track their waste, and how do we get rid of it?
Yes, yes. Thank you. This question coming from one of our development partners. I think I will let the international project lead, but it's a general question, the whole project idea. So Professor Muiwa, I don't know if you can step in at this point. It's a general question.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for that question. And it is, yeah, as you say, it's an important question. So I guess what I will just want us to go back at is that it's a research project that we are doing, okay? And so what we're doing more or less is R&D to demonstrate that this is what is possible. Okay, so the reason why you say that quite a lot of stuff is with organizations and enterprises is because that's the easiest way for us to get what we need and to be able to do that. However, having said that, the whole idea of what we're trying to do is to ensure that we move from this one-off to systems. Okay, so we're talking about the whole waste in the sector. So whether it's businesses, whether it's residential, wherever it is from, how do we have systems across Africa to be able to manage those waste, and how do we have processes to be able to convert those waste to stuff? So at this point, we're limited in capacity on what we can do because we are not development or a development organization, or we're just a research center trying to ensure that we can develop and demonstrate the technology for upcycling, for repurposing and all that. But what we're also doing is working with policymakers and the likes, and as well as businesses, to ensure that what we are learning is being translated to real life solutions. So solutions that will affect residential customers, solutions that will affect or that will be beneficial for both businesses, commercial and residential. Yeah, I don't know if is Lai still on the call or anyone else that wants to add anything, but that's in a sense that's what it is. So for now, we might be limited in who we engage with, but our solutions are definitely for the whole ecosystem. Does that give some clarity? I don't know.
Yes, of course, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question or comments, thoughts? Or I know you're there with your Sierra Leonean team. Does any of them have any other final reflections before Dr. Walker?
No. We are fine. We are expecting questions from people, all right, so that we can stretch out. We cannot be asking questions about ourselves.
Not questions. Do you have any comments?
If you want to contribute to the presentation.
To contribute to the presentation.
Yeah.
Of course, this presentation is timely and coming from Namibia, and with all of what was gathered there, and I believe we are on the right track. And the whole purpose, like you said, it's a research we are trying to find an answer to a particular problem. And as we get it, you could say it's coming from one entity, but the benefit of it is going to spread out and a lot of people are going to come in. So to me, the question asked by Emmanuel, it will feed into that. We are coming from one specific perspective, and we are here to repurpose batteries, give electricity to rural communities so that they can have their livelihoods going. But that does not stop at rural communities. Businesses, other partners can also benefit from this solution.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walker. Yeah, I see Dr. Giselle again. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon again. I've made to understand that you'll be supporting the isolated grid or any grid around the country. But do we have any data that, the quantum of energy might be producing at each community, having known that we have large communities, rural community in the country. So I would like to know how much the real energy you'll be producing per community. Real-time energy. Yeah.
That the project will be producing. We're not going to, Professor Muyiwa just mentioned our project is purely research-based. But we in Sierra Leone are trying to, use this project as an opportunity to establish an e-waste recycling center to support our mini grids with support from our development partners and the mini grid operators. But that data I do not have. I was going to ask you for that data because you are working in the department, electricity generation and
okay.
and what? On transmission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to be meeting you for data on that. Okay. But we're not going to establish mini grids across the country. No. We'll be supporting mini grid developers and operators.
Okay. That is good.
Okay, thank you. Any final question before we round up? I'm about to round up now. Sorry, did someone say something?
Some people are now sending personal messages to me that they're trying to join and this time difference. But 1 o'clock appeared on my Google Calendar. So the flyer was 2 o'clock or 1. Anyway. Yeah. Some people missed that. Maybe they did not register.
Yeah, probably.
When you registered, 1 o'clock will show up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but yeah, that's point taken. We'll make sure that we try to put different time zones on next flyers. But again, just want to say a big thank you to you, Professor Mansari, for that, and Tim for the insightful webinar. Yeah, it will be on our YouTube channel, so we'll be able to share it with those who missed it. Once again, thank you to all the participants who have joined. As I said, we are the Circular Economy Powered Renewable Energy Center, Pan-African multi-sectoral research center, committed to more or less utilizing or leveraging the principle of circular economy for Africa's energy transition. So how do we integrate the circular economy principles into renewable energy, into microgrids, mini grids, and the likes? Please feel free to follow us on LinkedIn or any of our channels. and to just keep up to date with our work. Once again, thank you for joining and have a good afternoon.